Well, good morning, everybody. It's Tom Christie back in the painting studio, and this will be the final session of painting this 6-inch long mini Drake Mallard in a preening position. In the previous two sessions, we got the bird close to being done. In this session, we'll really focus on how I painted the speculum, the wing, get the head painted, get the bird sealed up, ready to go. If you're enjoying what I'm doing here and getting some value out of my channel, please consider hitting the subscribe button. That's totally free. It doesn't commit you to anything. It's just a show of support for my channel. And I hope you're getting some value out of it. It does help me out if you hit subscribe. All right, let's get to session 3. Get focused on these final details. Welcome back. Just to start work on the speculum, I'm using carbon black and painting in the speculum area, just straight carbon black to begin with. I'm going to leave that section of the wing gray. I'll get both sides that way. While I have the carbon black, I'm going to take my detail brush and pull a few feather splits from the black into the side pocket feather. Same thing over here. Like that. For the iridescent speculum, I've got some phthalo blue with just a touch of white gesso to lighten it. And I've got a little angled brush, not much paint, and I'm going to lighten this area and fade it into the darker edges. Excuse me. And I'll add a little white to the mix to lighten this up in the corner. That's going to give us the appearance of a little shine. And then I'm fading that out because we're going to have a white stripe back here and a white stripe on the leading edge there. So that's starting to look like it's an iridescent shine. I'm going to continue to work on that until it's nice and soft. And again, I'll use more of the dark phthalo down here as I'm getting closer to the bottom of the speculum. So we have a nice gradient from dark phthalo blue down here to that nice light patch in the corner. Starting to get there. All right, I've got the off-white mix on a detail brush. I want to put this light edge marking, kind of fades out down below into the side pocket. I want it to be thick enough that you can see it. Very characteristic mallard speculum marking. I'll go over that a few times to make sure we've got good coverage on the white. I'm going to do the same thing here in this forward position. Then I want to come back and do some edge markings. Speculum is made up of layered group of feathers here. We want to portray that in our carving. Now I want to come back with the carbon black. Very thin line to separate these speculum feathers and show that they're layered in here. Tying that into the white markings. And now I'm going back to the white on the front edge, doing a similar, tying this line up together. So these feathers are white on the tip, gray as they move forward. I don't like that. I just got a lighter value of the blue and just putting a few accents on the top of these near the top corner just to make them pop a little bit. On this side there's less speculum showing, so I'm just adding in the black, and the scapulars here are over the white bar on front, so it doesn't even show, but just a nice little accent on that side. I'm going to use the base gray here in the detail brush and just pull a few splits up into the scapulars here where the wing tucks underneath. Now we can do a little bit of detail on the wing that's exposed here. Okay, I'm using the gray base value, a little bit of white gesso added, and a touch of raw sienna just to warm it up a bit, and putting some feather edge markings in here. There's not much to work with here, but just to indicate that this feathered wing tucks under the rest of the side pocket there. That's about all we need. Like that. I've got my little nub scrubber out here again, and I put a little burnt umber in with the base color of the side pocket just to darken it slightly, and I'm just going in and highlighting the edges so that this is not just a flat surface, but there's some depth to these feathers as they tuck under the side here. And makes them just a touch darker too. Now I want to work on the breast, and I've got some gold oxide mixed with brown earth for a little lighter value here. I've got a little filbert, and I want to go in here and put some highlights on each of the breast halves and leave that area in between dark and I'm just fading that into the darker brown color on the margins here. Bring this up where they get a little shine. This is going to let us put some detail over the top of this. So just fading that color out. So we just have a little lighter highlight. Fading that so there's a blend there, not just any kind of a hard line. And I'll lighten this area in between as well. Now I have some burnt umber on a little fan blender and just going in and putting some feather structure, just using the tips of the fan and the splayed out bristles to put some feathers in here. Pretty delicate work. The trick is getting the brush loaded correctly and the bristles splayed where they're going to convey feathering. It's easy to say, it's not easy to do. I like the way that looks. So I'll do that across the board here on the breast. Now I'm going back with a detail brush and just reinforcing some of those feather markings, cleaning things up where there are gaps and where I couldn't get to this tight area up near the bill. I'm going to do that with the detail brush. There's kind of a gap area here. Just adding more splits and feather structure there. Just going to take some of the body base color and put some gray feather ticks across this area. They tend to lighten up. You see a few of these closer to the bottom, and that's where I'm going to focus just a few of these in this area. Both sides. Not too many, just a little transition there. Kind of breaks up that line between the gray and the brown as well. That's good. Here's just a quick look at the breast. I took a little very thin wash of burnt umber, put over the entire thing. just to kind of pull things together, darken the breast back up a bit. Now we can work on this neck ring. I've got the off-white in the detail brush, and I'm just going to go into the neck ring here and put some feather barbs in to soften that. It's kind of meticulous, and it'll take some time. I'll do the same thing up into the dark head, the neck area. We'll get the neck ring detailed. All right, taking a little burnt umber on the detail brush. Just going to put some splits in these cape feathers. Make them look more like feathers. Not much room to work here. I'll get that done. I've got burnt umber, and I'm going back, just putting a few dark splits through this darker area as it tucks into the side pocket. A few out here, a few into those feathers, just a little bit. Same over here, just a few. And now, rather than using iridescent paint, I'm going to do like I did on the speculum. We're going to simulate iridescence by using some different values of green. I've got a little filbert, nice and soft, and I'm just using it to slowly build up the color. I'm going to leave the back of the head, the top, the crown dark, and just put these highlights on the cheeks to simulate iridescence. So start with a damp brush, get most all of the water out of it. And I'm using green light and phthalo green to combine together and come up with this intermediate value of green to begin with. So kind of a deep green. That's Josanya phthalo green mixed with green light. I'm going to hit the cheek so there's a little bit of a iridescent shine there, down the side of the neck here where some sunlight would be catching the neck. Leave the back dark, back of the neck. I'm going to dry that. Add a little more of the green light value. Go back in. That's very light, so that's too light. A little more phthalo green. That's better. Really highlight the cheek here as it catches the sun's rays. It'll just take some time here to get a nice soft look. Building up the color slowly so I don't overdo it. This is not easy to get a nice soft look with a brush like this. You can use an airbrush. I just chose on this bird to use my brushes. That's starting to look the way I want it to. I'll keep working on that and then come back. I want to add just a little subtle blue-green highlight along the back of the neck here. So I've got some phthalo blue that I loaded right over the green in the brush, and I'm just brushing that in to give me a little blue highlight on the back of the neck there. I've got some white paint in the brush. Got to stop that. For the eyes, I've mixed up a little lighter value of brown than would be on the bird because I want these pupils to show up. So I've got burnt umber, a little bit of raw sienna mixed in to lighten it, and a little bit of brown earth. Paint the eyes that color. Got some carbon black. Put a nice big pupil in there. I'm using a little green light mixed with raw sienna and a very thin wash just to put a little bit of a greenish tint towards the tip of the bill here. You often see that on the live bird. Got carbon black for the nail. I want that to touch the feathers but not spread out on them. Put the nail right down there. I'm going to darken the nostrils with carbon black just inside the enclosure in the nostril itself. Try to make those look symmetrical. Just using a little of the base body color to put a little bit of an eyelid accent under the eye. And I'll put gloss on the eye, probably 2-part epoxy to really make those eyes shine. I've got my little scrubber again here with very little paint in it, a little bit of carbon black, and just going to put a little accent here between the nostrils. About like that. We're getting close. And just a few little carbon black marks down there around the base of the bill. Got a little darker value of gray, the base body gray. Just pulling in a few splits. Same over here. few down here. The rear of the side pocket. Just in a few feathers, not all across the board. Out like that. All right, final step for this guy was seal him with Tester's dull coat. And then I like to put Krylon matte finish over the dull coat. Just puts a slight bit of sheen back on the decoy. The bill, I used a brush and used Prolux semi-gloss. And then for the eyes, I used Prolux gloss and gave it a couple of good coats. And they look pretty good. All right, everybody, that's a wrap on the miniature preening Drake Mallard. And we took this bird from beginning to end, through the carving process, through the painting process, to this result. I'm really happy with the way he turned out. He's going to match up well with that preening hen that I did previously. I hope you enjoyed the series. I hope you got something out of it. Until next time, Tom Christie signing out. Good carving to you. I got to clean up the studio. It's time to stop for the day. Maybe have a cold beer. Talk to you later.